evening, everyone, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservatory Arts Talk Show. My name is Joe Pace III. Our producer is Barbara Gail Pace, and we will be bringing you the show today, if I can get my words out. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and do stick around for the next half hour. We're going to be doing a program tonight called Potluck. And that's where we're going to be talking about a number of things. And hopefully, in this pot will be something that will be useful for your life. Again, welcome and thank you for joining us. Now, we're going to get started right away. We are a music school, though. Let me get into that just for a few minutes. We do train on the drums, the piano, the trumpet, and the guitar. And if you're interested in that, you can give us a call at 708-507-0095, and we'll give you more information regarding that. One of the things I want to say is that we are in the process of moving. Those of you who recall that we still are, if you want to know the truth, until September 1st, we were at 6353 South Cottage Grove in the Woodlawn area right next to the Grand Ballroom. But we'll be moving out on the further south and east between Jeffrey and Stony Island around 93rd Street, and we'll give you more information on that as time goes by, perhaps next week, I should say. Now, let's just start off, with this potluck. The first thing we want to talk about is forgiveness. You remember, ladies and gentlemen, last week we talked a little bit about forgiveness, and we said that we need to cleanse our life of all of the strife, bitterness, and just plain old unforgiveness. We need to cleanse our life of that, because this power that we talk about, this incredible source of all things, this supreme being, actually can be looked at in the way that we look at a ever-flowing river. It's constant. It never stops. It's in everything. It's everywhere at the same time. It's all-knowing. It's all-powerful. And so what happens is, if we look at our life, if we look at this force as flowing through our very life, which it really is, then we can understand how it is that certain things can clog it up and prevent the flow, can slow the flow down, and even stop the flow of our blessings. It's so important to understand this. You know, this is being taught in a lot of religions, that we have to have a forgiving heart. We have to have a forgiving mind. And some people will say, I forgive, but I'm never going to forget. I think what they're saying is that I'm going to say I'm forgiving, but the net result is I'm not. So, do we need to forget totally about something that has occurred? I'd say right now that we need to get to the point where it's 99% or 99.9% forgotten. Why? Because every time we bring up these dark memories of past negative experiences in which someone has either violated us, our trust, sometimes violated us physically, we are reliving those things. We are reliving those things, and those things are clogging up that flow, that beautiful flow of our benefits. And so it's so important for us to understand that in order to keep that pipeline open and to keep the flow of our blessings coming through our lives, our benefits, that we must then have a pure life, as pure as we possibly can. Somebody said, well, nobody is perfect, and that's probably true. But we have to be able, we have to be trying to be perfect. We have to be trying to perfect our personalities, our character at all times. Like I tell you all the time, that this is a practice. And those of you, I wanted to remind you, get your pencil and paper and write some of these things down, because these things can really, really improve on your life if you are able to put them into practical application. And you're able to do that if you'll try. But it is a practice. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. For, like right now, I think I told you a few weeks ago to write all of those people down, names down on a piece of paper. I don't care if they're living or dead. Write their names down on a piece of paper. And what I want you to do is release them to their highest life. Release them to their highest possible acquisitions, whether or not, and that would be if we release people to their highest life, we're talking health, happiness, and prosperity. Try doing that. And even if it doesn't work the first time, which it probably won't, keep doing it, keep saying it, and keep trying to do it. And every time these individuals or these bad experiences pop into your mind, whether or not they're from your job, a boss who was very negative and unfair, a past relationship that was very horrible, or a neighbor, or a sister, or brother, or mother, or father, or grandparent, or whatever, keep trying to, when that person's face memory comes to your mind, say to yourself, I release you to your highest good. You see what I'm saying? Every time, I release you to your highest good. And pretty soon, you're going to find that memory is going to come up less and less and less until finally one day you won't even think about it, but maybe once a year, if that, okay? And so this is the way that it is done. Just keep telling yourself, I release you to your highest good, And trust me, look out, because now that pipeline that has your benefits in it is getting ready to start flowing. And ladies and gentlemen, when it starts flowing, you can bet it's going to flow over, okay? Now, next, that's our first ingredients in this potluck. Now, the next thing is we have to stop looking back, see? Because many times we're looking back not only on bad experiences, but on our past, something that happened that we didn't like or that we would not have liked to have happen in our life, And this is something that we must stop doing because, again, every time we go back into the past, we're reliving these things. And that reliving of these things actually clutters up our life and can cause, again, our benefits to be blocked, And we could be doing a whole lot of things correctly. We could be like, for example, working hard. We could be very honest people. We could be paying, making donations to charities, and we could be very kind and friendly with our neighbors. This is a lot that we're doing, But we keep going back into the past. And so what we have here now is a mixture of good and bad, because going back in the past and waking up those old memories is bad. And so we have doing these other things would be good. So we have a mixture of good and bad. And what comes out of that, in most cases, is something kind of mediocre. You know what I'm saying? It may not be horrible, but then it's not solidly good, and that's what we're looking for. Many people out there are looking for all kinds of things, and there are so many people out there who could use a little extra money. Well, here's the way you can get it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you start, because, giving and receiving are part of the same process. But in many cases, what happens is that we have all of this baggage that's clogging up and preventing the benefits from flowing into our life based on our giving. Now, we have a caller, I believe, don't we? Do we have a caller?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but go right ahead. I think I can hear you well enough. The system in here is just a little off, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, my name is Minister Robert Ford Clark, and I wanted to reflect on a life is a terrible thing to waste.
Okay, very
And
good. Well, that's how. Right now, that is our motto. But go right ahead, Minister.
yes, sir. I am also the president of the Harold Washington Foundation, and I would like for you all to do a collaboration through educating the community on the fact that a life is a terrible thing to waste. I'm a member of the NAACP,
Uh-huh.
and it, it is a fact that our people need to learn better, to know better, and to become educated. And it looks to me that you're on the right track in heading a educational forever development for the best interest of the community. To be aware is to be alive, and I'm thankful that you have a beautiful program like this going on.
Well, we thank you very much for that, and please keep on listening. And why don't you leave your information with my producer, Barbara Gail Pace, and then maybe we'll touch base sometime.
Yes, sir. I would like for you to be a part of something that we're doing tomorrow with Mama D Love. She's also been a part of CAN TV, and it's concerning the mothers and wisdom of the black women. And it's in honor of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey from 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock tomorrow. We will be at 330 East 37th Street. The Honorable Marcus Messiah
Okay, well, we're
Garvey
going to take that
Center.
information down, but in actuality, I have a full schedule tomorrow, and of course, I run a music school, and I am the director of that music school, and also one of the
All
instructors,
right.
and we're getting ready for a big recital. So it's going to be unlikely that I'm going to be able to make that, but maybe some
Well,
future
congratulations. Yes,
engagements. Okay? Well, thank you for
yes,
your
sir.
call, and
God bless you, man of God.
we're gonna keep
Love
that
you.
in
Keep up
mind.
the
All
good
right,
work.
and you can leave your information with my producer. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank
God bless
you.
you, man of God.
All right,
You're
ladies and
welcome.
gentlemen, we're gonna get right back. Want to thank that brother. Look like he's out doing some wonderful things in our community, and that's what we need. We need people. When I think about Marcus Garvey and what he did, and how many of our leaders have laid their life down for us. It's just a marvelous thing that an individual would love his people so much that he would actually lay his life down. And that's what people like Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and so many others and Harriet Tubman. You just keep going and going and going, and even many people that we have not even mentioned here. But let's get back into this. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. Uh, this is really part and partial of what we're trying to do. My objective here, my mission here, is to uplift the people with the wisdom of how to use this power that each of us has been given, how to use it, and it's a certain methodology that we must utilize in order to take advantage of this awesome power that's flowing through our life 24/7, you know? And so that's what my mission here is to do. But I'm also a person who really can't say enough about the wonderful work that people are doing in other areas, and we try to do as much as we can in order to support those efforts. Now let's go back. Let's go a little bit further. And now we talked about looking back. Now visionaries look to the future, and we have to become visionaries. Uh, we got to get out of the past. We have to work in the present. Someone said, let us not look back in anger, nor forward in fear, but let's look around us in awareness, in understanding, in wisdom, in integrity, in justice, in all of these wonderful things, you know. Because when we're looking back in anger, again, we're clogging up that pipe that flows with our benefits, you see. And when we're looking forward in fear, all of us know that fear is the worst thing that we could ever embrace. But we must look to the present in awareness. We must look around us, and we must all the time be thinking, how can I make this wonderful life of mine worthy of having been lived? You see, because each of us has been brought to this earth, was born on this earth with a mission, with a gift, with something very special that we are to leave on this earth to make it better for everyone, each of us. And that you brought, that I brought, and everybody else is different and unique only to us. And that's why we need to look for our purpose in life. We need to be looking for that gift that we have that no one else has, you know. And that once we find that, life then begins to make sense. Life then begins to make sense. And this is one of the biggest problems, ladies and gentlemen, on the earth, especially I should say, among all the people. But this is one of the biggest problems, that people don't know that they have been born on this earth with a special gift to share with the world. Because see, you're special. You're not just, you are special. Your uniqueness make you special. You have unlimited power and potential. Unlimited power and potential. And it's left up to each person who's listening here now to utilize these principles to their advantage. I mean, trust me when I tell you that these teachings are more important than anything, any type of policing that Eddie Johnson and the police department could do. They're more important than if you were to become some sort of person with a whole lot of money and really didn't understand what the purpose of money is, because most of us don't understand the purpose of money. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to have $1 million plan for helping the world become better. If you have $1 million plan for helping the world to become better, you then put the plan together to make the money. And you are much more likely to acquire that money than if you were just going for money for the sake of having money. Because everything comes from this source. Everything comes from this supreme intelligence, from the single source of all. Whether or not it's intelligence, it's prosperity, it's peace, it's health, it all comes from this one source. There is only one source, only one intelligence, only one supreme being, and it all comes from that source, every bit of it. Even these words that I am uttering out of my mouth
Hello?
regarding the truth, I'll be right with you.
All
Even
right.
these words come from that source. This is not my truth. No way this is my truth. Okay, caller, go right ahead.
Yes, this is Steve. And listen, I always enjoy what you do and what you say. And for we could go too far. I had a stroke in March. I used to call you all the time, but I'm doing therapy, so I'm trying to do it slow so people could understand what I'm saying. Listen, to get money, the start of raising money, capitalize on money, you have to have collateral. You got to have something where you could go to the bank and then you could borrow money, and then put your collateral down on that money. So the greatest thing I think is property, income property. Some way, somehow, you could get it. There's your beginning of your money. Make sure you have collateral, and that way you can borrow money on your property, and then you just keep on going. But you must save, and every time you get some more, you get more collateral. In 10 years, you'd be surprised what you will accumulate
All
by
right,
just
brother.
doing that.
I can agree with you, and I want to thank you for calling. We just got a few more minutes, but keep on listening, okay?
All right, have a great day.
All right, you too now. Okay, now, folks, now here's the thing. What this brother just said is true. You need a plan to make money. Whether or not it's real estate, whether or not it's in the stock market, whether or not it's opening your own business, you must have a plan. This is the intelligent part of this single source, you know? And again, it is the author of all intelligence, whether or not it's going to the moon, whether or not it's making money, whatever. But remember one thing, that money, like everything else, starts in the mind. You could take off trying to do real estate and whatnot and all these other things and buy property and not go anywhere. Trust me. Or you may go only just a small place, you know. But if you understand money, and you understand that money starts in the mind, that you have to think like a billionaire. You must think like a millionaire, you know. You must always understand that your source, your everything comes from this single source. And when you understand that, that's when money starts to flow into you. And not only that, but visualizing is so important with money. You have to see yourself first with money. You have to believe, and you have to actually see yourself in your mind's eye with more money than you could ever spend. If you can create that in your mind, you know, and just see it all the time. And I tell people, make yourself a vision board and put money on that. You know what I'm saying? And put nice cars on it and nice houses and all of this other stuff. And try as much as you can to visualize yourself in that environment with money, with nice cars, with nice houses, and this, that, and the other. And when you do that, what happens is your subconscious, you're feeding your subconscious mind. And when you do that, the garden of your subconscious mind is where those type of thoughts, seeds are planted. And they begin to grow. And the growth of those plants or those seeds represent the plans that you're getting to take action with. Because you must take action. There's no such thing as as thinking all of this wonderful thoughts and whatnot and not taking action. Action is actually the other 50% of it. It's first of all visualizing yourself, understanding that you have limitless power, and therefore you have limitless prosperity, you see. And because you have limitless prosperity, you then have to put together a plan to go after it. That plan is given to you through your own life, through connecting and harmonizing with this source. And as you begin to implement this plan, you will see that money starts to flow. And it starts to flow, and it flows to the mindset, to the mental capacity, to the visualization that you're able to come up with. It will flow to billions and billions and billions and even trillions if you can stay with it. But again, it doesn't fall off trees. It does not fall out of the air. You must put a plan together. We're talking about mental processing. Mental processing is very important, extremely important. But after that, all of those ideas that are given to us, we have to move on them. And then when we run into something, when we run into stumbling blocks, as we oftentimes will, there's nothing flows just flow. It's going to just flowing, and then finally it's in my hands. When Bill Gates opened up his little garage, auto garage, and started to develop the personal computer, I don't even need to ask Mr. Gates. Mr. Gates, how many times did you fail, and how many times were you frustrated and had to start all over again? I don't need to ask him that. You cannot build anything of that value unless you run into all kinds of situations that you said to yourself, I'm not going to be defeated, and kept going. And we have to be like that also. Whatever's put in front of us, we have to get beyond it and keep going. Sometimes our plan, all the time I should say, our plan changes. It never just goes, I'm going to plan on doing this and it just, We have to make those necessary moves. And what happens is when we make those moves, and those moves can be considered as temporary defeats, we then move that thing in another direction, and this awesome power gets behind us again. So keep going, keep going. And as long as we keep going, trust me when I tell you, we are going to get there, So I want to thank you all for being with us on the day. Thank you for joining us. Thank the callers who call with those wonderful comments, and do tune in again on next week. We'll be here, and we're going to pick up where we left off. We didn't get through this potluck like we wanted to, and so we're going to pick up here and take off again on this potluck. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us.